Okay. Okay, here we are. Decided to do this something totally out of the blue because there was a lot of things going on all across the internet this week, and holy cow, what a poop storm was going on. Oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it. So we all know what the big stuff is going on this week is that the whole net neutrality thing is, and I'm really not going to go into a whole lot about it just because this is something that's happened before, and it'll probably happen again if they don't succeed this time, but be that as it may. Anyway, I thought I would just kind of jump in here tonight, and um, one of the things I want to talk about, and something that I actually talked about with Highlander, and welcome to the stream, Highlander. Glad to see you can make it. Um, as you know, I love horror movies. I absolutely adore horror movies. In fact, I was going to show off some of my favorite horror movies that I have acquired over the years. So I thought I'd kind of give a little stack, and I've got some stacks of some other discs over here too. So I thought I'd kind of go through some of these. Um, One of my favorite horror movie franchises, and there's a few of them. One of them is the Friday the 13th franchise, in which case I've got Friday the 13th, the Killer Cut, which I think is a redo of the very first one. Now, granted, I have not watched this one yet. In fact, you could probably print off a list of the movies that I've not seen in my lifetime on microfilm, and it probably extend well past your arm. So there you go. But Friday the 13th is definitely one of those franchises that I have really enjoyed. In fact, the very first movie I ever watched of Friday the 13th was the final chapter, part 4. I know, Island. Shame on me. But yeah, the first one I ever saw was the final chapter because I thought, if I'm going to jump into this, I'm going to see it right at the end, see the culmination of how it all ended, and then maybe go back and watch the first 3. Oh, silly me. Yeah, because not long after they came out with Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. Of course. Why would they kill off the series? No, they didn't kill it off until they really, really ran into the ground and did like Part 10, which is like way out in space, and he got reanimated by nanobots, and it's like, really? What made you think this was a good idea? So, another horror movie franchise I really got into. Some of these I've been getting out of pawn shops, so they're a little, they've gotten marked up and stuff. But Halloween, and this is Halloween Resurrection. I think it's like I want to say 6th or 7th movie in the franchise. I actually first started watching this one, I think, with Part 3, which had absolutely nothing to do with Michael Myers. It was all about the stuff going on the TV. And then I watched Part 4 and 5. And those were good. I didn't see any others beyond that until I watched the Rob Zombie version, the new Halloween. I got the unrated one. Holy smokes! If you have not seen this version, you really need to watch it because I don't know what it is about it, but they did the whole backstory of Michael Myers, and they kind of played more into it. So I really liked what Rob Zombie did with this movie. So if you have not seen the Rob Zombie Halloween, I would recommend it because I think it's a really good movie. In fact, also after the movie, watch the gag reels because the gag reels are hilarious. In fact, there's a scene where you see Michael Myers walking into a house, looking like he normally does, and then like a few seconds later, he comes out of the house and he's wearing the Jason mask. so, so you like the first one. So I'm assuming you like the very first one that was like back in the 70s, the original John Carpenter version. Now, granted, I have not gone back and watched that one yet. I do plan on circling around and going back and watching the first ones of all these. I need to go back and watch all the first Friday the 13th, and go back and watch all the first Halloweens. Okay, so what's another good horror movie franchise? Of course, we got to talk about Nightmare on Elm Street. And when I say I talk about Nightmare on Elm Street, I talk about the first 6, maybe 7 movies. I don't talk about the new one. One, because I have not seen it yet, and 2, This is what I grew up with. I grew up with Robert Englund being Freddy. And when I first watched it, I didn't start watching it until the fifth movie came out, and then I binge watched all five back to back to back in the middle of the night, in the dark, in my bed. Didn't get any nightmares, but I really enjoyed the heck out of the movie. So yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street, I really like, especially the first six movies. I did not see Wes Craven's New Nightmare, so that's another one on the list I really need to watch. So there you go. Um, Speaking of Freddy, and of course of Jason, what can you not expect but to get into Freddy versus Jason? Yes, it's fan service. Yes, it that's best way to describe it is total fan service. Um, they do seem timid compared to Saw Highlander, but here's the thing: I watched the first Saw movie. I don't know if I didn't see the rest because I didn't want to or because I was disgusted by what I saw. No pun intended. But I never got around to watching any of like the next like six movies that came out after that. And I guess when they saw the final cut, everybody thought, "Oh, okay, so this is the end of the franchise." Of course. No, it's not. You had to come out with another movie, so of course now you have Jigsaw, and how many more times are they going to milk that franchise? But if you like Freddy and you like Jason and you want something a little bit different, and if you've not seen um, Freddy versus Jason, you really should, because what I liked about it is that just when you think one of them is getting the upper edge over the other one, it kind of turns around. And to me, the best part was later on in the movie when Freddy gets pulled into the real world. A little bit of a spoiler there if you haven't seen it. Okay. All right. Some people knew this franchise was coming because I was asked about it. So yes, I'm going to answer about it. Yes, I love Hellraiser. Did I lose camera? Nope, it's still there. No, it's still there. Um, Hellraiser. Love Hellraiser. Not only did I like watching the first movie, of course I had to get the second movie, Hellbound. It could be Highland. I'm not sure because I've got camera front and center, so I'm not sure what may have happened. Maybe try refreshing your browser. Um, to me, Hellbound Hellraiser 2, I think, was the ultimate Hellraiser movie because I think it took what was good about the first movie and really ramped it up. And what's funny is that if you know anything about 80s horror movies or 90s horror movies, one of the things, hey, you're back. Awesome. One of the things that you'll notice, and I don't know if anybody's ever seen Hellbound, but there's a couple scenes where you actually see some of the rigging to make the special effects in the shot. So, yeah. So not only did I get the first two, I've got the next six after that. I found this is a 6-disc set. This includes 3 through 8. So this gets all the way from Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, all the way up until Hellraiser 8, Dead World, which was the one about the online world. Here's the thing about Hellraiser, though. To me, the first 4 movies told the best story. Because Bloodline goes back to the very beginning when Le Marchand was making the lament configuration, making the puzzle box, and how everything came to be. And then it kind of pulls forward into the future. And it wasn't corny future like they did with Jason X. I think they did it right, in my opinion. So it honestly should have ended at Bloodline. That's where it should have just stopped. They should have just, said, okay, yay, we're going on a high note. Let's just cut it good. Make Doug Bradley a household word because he was the lead Cenobite / Pinhead / Hell Priest is what they're calling it now. But after that, they went into Inferno, Hellseeker, Deader, and Hellworld, which 5 through 8 were pretty much generic horror movie that just happened to have Hell Priest in it, aka Pinhead. So, yeah. I mean, I watched Inferno and I watched Hellseeker. I don't think I watched Deader or Dead World yet. Of course, I have no excuse because I have the collection, so I probably will. Just because that way I can say I've actually seen them. But I did watch the first 4. Yeah, they should have went back to the backstory because, well, then again, once they covered it in Bloodline, I'm not sure what else you can really do with that because you told where the Cenobites came from, how they came to be in this world, and then they kind of went forward from there. So maybe they could have done something that took place right after Bloodline from where the beginning was and done some older backstories. So maybe they could have done that. So those are like my main favorite horror movies. I did also watch Amityville Horror back in 1979, the original one. The original Amityville Horror, to me, was really well done because it told the story of the possessed house. Which, if you go and try to find it nowadays, they've totally changed the outward appearance of the house. So it doesn't really even look like it did back in 79. But you got to remember, that was like, what, 40 years ago, thereabouts? So, yeah, there you go. So I imagine they did it just so that way people wouldn't keep coming around going, oh, look, it's the Amityville horror house. So, yeah, the first one is the best. You notice they never did any kind of sequel or rework with The Shining, and I'm really glad they did because The Shining was a really, really good horror movie. Jack Nicholson played the crazy guy really, really well. It's classic Stephen King, and I remember seeing it at the drive-in. So, of course, I saw that at the drive-in. I saw Phantasm at the drive-in. And if you saw it on Twitter earlier, I got the 5-movie collection now. So I have seen Phantasm 1 and 2. I just haven't seen 3, 4, and 5. I'm a little trepidatious about watching the 5th one because they took so long in making it. Of course, Angus Scrimm isn't around anymore. So it's not like they could really go in and reshoot it and refix it and do whatever, because I heard people were actually really disappointed with it. So, so I do like the first 2, so I will go through and watch the other 3, 4, and Ravager, the 5th one. Because the little horror movies, because why is that behind me? But yeah, usually when it comes to any kind of movie, whether it's horror movies, sci-fi movies, adventure movies, what have you, the first time they do it is usually the best way of doing it. Motel Hell I have not seen yet. I'll put it on my list though. Just because you recommend it. So yeah, I will definitely check it out, and I'll let y'all know what I think about that. So talk about some other movies. Some other movies that I have really paid attention to over the years. In addition to horror movies, I also like sci-fi movies, and especially 80s movies, because to me, 80s movies reminds me of when I grew up. I grew up in the days when the mall was the place to go, when people listened to really huge, obnoxious boom boxes, and they did their hair just only a little bit wilder, and they wore like the big bulky sweaters with like the Benetton and the Esprit logos on them, and it was just dark horror or classic horror. Can I say yes? Can I say both? I do like classic horror. But the reason why I talk about 80s movies is, and I'm just kind of derailing onto another subject here. To me, there's 4 movies that fit into what I call the iconic 80s movie lineup. This is one of them. If you guys have not seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High, you really have been living under a rock and really need to get out and watch this movie. This movie is legendary. on a number of levels. It has the best customer service retribution scene ever with Judge Reinhold. It has the best interaction between Sean Penn and the late, great, legendary Ray Walston, who was absolutely phenomenal. Of course, Ray Walston is phenomenal in every freaking movie he does. I mean, if you watch him in From the Hip with Judd Nelson, he plays a really great judge. Of course, the whole movie is awesome. If you watched him in My Favorite Martian, he redid the role that he did back when the original series was done. Just everything that he's in was really, really good. So the 4 movies I would say that every person should have in their 80s collection, of course, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Breakfast Club. You gotta have The Breakfast Club. And 4 of them. What was the other one? Think. Ferris Bueller, Fast Times, Breakfast Club. Some people say 16 Candles. Some people say Pretty in Pink. I watched both of them. Truth be told, I like Pretty in Pink better than 16 Candles, but there you go. Ferris Bueller's Day Off was really, really awesome. But yeah, I did see 16 Candles, so I did watch it. It's not on my list of things I really need to watch. So yeah. So yeah, I would say, you know, you bring up a really interesting point, Highlander. Here comes another shame. I have not seen St. Elmo's Fire yet. It was super hugely popular back in the day, but I never got around to watching it. Just like I never watched The Big Chill, which was also really popular. There's a lot of classic movies that are on my list that I need to watch that I haven't watched yet. But yeah. Another great movie that I have in my collection that if you haven't watched it, you really should, is, I can't seem to get the angle right. And maybe I'm just not used to working reversed, but V for Vendetta. And this is one of I think 3 movies, well, 2 movies and a movie franchise that Hugo Weaving was really, really awesome in. And I really, well, actually, 2 franchises and 2 movies. Let's kind of expand this out a little bit. Of course, he played V in V for Vendetta. He also played Agent Smith in The Matrix, of course. He was also Elrond in the Lord of the Rings movies. One movie you may not have known that he was in a movie called The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, which is a story about 3 drag queens going across Australia. So you get to see Australian scenery in this movie. So I wonder if other people know about Priscilla. Yes, dude, Count of Monte Cristo. Awesome movie. I absolutely adore that movie. That movie told such a powerful, awesome story. It is definitely part of my collection. I need to go back and watch it again because it's just so freaking amazing. But yeah, great movie. Some people love water, some people love coffee. I have raspberry white tea. There you go. Okay. Other iconic movies. I'm just kind of going all over the place tonight just because I feel like talking. I feel like, just being me tonight. So I am going to be doing another live stream on Saturday. Dylan and I have got planned. I think we're going to end up doing either Train Simulator 2017 or Euro Truck Simulator 2. One of the two. We're going to kick back and do something a little bit different. Oh, dude, Shasta? Shasta is awesome. I grew up with Shasta. I grew up with Shasta and Knee-High Soda. That stuff was awesome. Still is awesome. Okay, other iconic movies. If you like anime, and you haven't watched Akira yet, I recommend that you get the 25th anniversary DVD, and there's a reason for this. This DVD has 3 different audio tracks on it. It has the Japanese for the subtitled, and then you also have 2 English tracks. You have the original Streamline Pictures audio track, and then you have the new Pioneer dub track. So between those two, watch it with the Streamline Pictures dub audio, because to me that was better than what they did with the Pioneer. Because yeah, the Pioneer dub just it sucks. It is horrible. The same thing with the original Vampire Hunter D. The way they originally dubbed it was so much better than the redo. I don't know why they redid it. Sweet. Well, you know, there are benefits to that, because if you, well, now when you say Home Alone, are you talking about the movie or the fact that you do stay home alone? But if you're talking about the movie, yes, the first two movies were awesome. The second movie even more than the first one, because Tim Curry was in that movie. I love watching Tim Curry. I watch him in every single thing that I possibly can. I've seen him in Rocky Horror Picture Show. I've seen him in Oscar. I have seen him in Home Alone 2. I watched him when he was on TV, when they did the remake of Family Affair, when they did the short-lived TV series Two of a Kind. Sherlock Holmes. I do like Sherlock Holmes stuff of varying types. One interesting thing about when Tim Curry did the Three Musketeers, there's a line that Tim Curry says in Three Musketeers that is exactly the same as what he said in Rocky Horror Picture Show. He said the exact same line after somebody got killed. In the Rocky Horror Picture Show, it was right after he killed Eddie. And in Three Musketeers, it was right after one of the prisoners was killed in the beginning of the movie. And he says, "Well, one less mouth to feed." I loved it. It's like, okay, the Cardinal is Frankenfurter. Yeah, let's just come right out and say it. Oh, here it is. I showed this earlier. Phantasm, my movie collection. Yay! And they come all in one spindle, so they're all like stacked one on top of the other. So you have Phantasm Remastered, you have and then 2, 3, 4, and then Ravager. But yeah, Tim Curry is absolutely stellar in all the stuff that he does. In fact, there's an older movie that I need to go back and watch again, because I have it on VHS. It's an old movie from way back in the day called Blue Money. It was a British movie. It's where Tim Curry plays a taxi cab driver, and one of the fares that he picks up is a mobster. So he tells him to go to the store because the guy's going to go in and pick up some cigarettes or whatever, leaves a suitcase in the back. So while the guy's in the store, he reaches back, and the suitcase is full of money. So what does he do? He starts to take off. But as he's driving away, he has an attack of conscience, goes back, and the guy's gone. What do you do when you have a suitcase full of money and you don't know where the guy is who you got it from? Yeah, you kind of tend to start going out and having a spending spree. So, yeah. So British TV and movies are really amazing, and I got my start in watching British TV back in the late 70s, early 80s. Well, yeah, Benny Hill too. I did watch Benny Hill, even though I was way too young to watch it. Benny Hill, now that I go back and watch it these days, is pretty awesome. But I got my start watching, of course, Doctor Who, along with the Tomorrow People, and what else did I get into? Later on, I got into Are You Being Served, which is a great British comedy. In fact, I remember one time I was with one of my friends in Denver, and he drove me past the house where John Inman used to live when he was still around. Nice house. Of course, he's not here anymore, but great house. Okay. These are a couple movies I have been watching. One recently and one a while back. Absolutely love. Of course. This is definitely in my top 10 list of favorite mainstream movies. and I have to qualify this with mainstream movies because I like a lot of obscure movies too. But Ryan Reynolds, my goodness, did he channel this character or what? I mean, seriously, this movie is freaking amazing. One movie I did pick up just recently, and I am so glad I did. I knew I wanted to watch it just from the previews because it is so kick butt. You gotta watch Atomic Blonde. You seriously gotta watch. Great action movie. I mean, there are there are so many scenes in there where you're like, ow, ow, oh, ow, oh my goodness, his grandkids are gonna feel that. Ow, yeah. Doctor has too many manifestations. You know, in some ways, I would agree with you. Um, of course, my favorite was Tom Baker. Of course, that was back in the '80s, and if you were to try playing it nowadays, I don't think he'd still be able to do it. Although he's done stuff ever since, and he's still going strong. In fact, he played a voice part in the third series of Star Wars Rebels, which I thought was pretty interesting. Of course, he was in the Dungeons and Dragons live action movie, which on the most part is kind of but it's okay, just because Tom Baker's in it. Or raspberry tea for the win. So I love Japanese anime, but I also love live action stuff too. Um, and I'm going back into obscure movies here because this is a movie that not very many people know about. This was a movie called. Ah, that's cool. Because my green screen is kind of like filtering it out. But this is a movie called Green Tier or T-R. I'm not quite sure which one it is. Um, and yes, it's autographed because the gal that's in this. I'll hold up here a little bit more. The gal that's in that, her name is Mari Ijima, who I've come to know on a semi level over the last like 18 years or so. Short 25-minute movie about the time of World War II. It's really good. The new Star Trek saga. Truth be told, I have not seen anything of Discovery yet. I'm probably gonna go over to my friend Crash Override's house and watch the pilot episode because that was actually on regular TV. So I'm gonna go watch that. But okay, here's my thing with the new Star Trek series. I think CBS kind of shot themselves in the foot by restricting it to CBS All Access because, okay, let's put it this way. Nowadays, what do you have? You have Netflix, you have Hulu, you have Amazon Prime, you have all the other streaming services that tie into those, and now you've got another one. Who needs another one? So I've been kind of putting that off. But the screen tier movie that I watched, I actually got this from Mari back in the day, back in '09, because I told her, I says, I have never seen this movie. I really want to see this. So she did. So she sent it. She goes, okay, now you have the DVD. Enjoy. So, Interstellar. That was an interesting movie. It was actually a little bit better than I thought it was going to be. So I was kind of on the fence about it. But since it was on free on demand or streaming or whatever I was watching it on, it turned out to be better than I thought. Um, here's a. I'll just skip that one. Let me over here for a second. Okay. Iconic horror movies. This one I absolutely love. Bram Stoker's Dracula. This is not a soundtrack. This is the actual movie. Um, Great movie. Absolutely love it. That's why I wanted to get this on Laserdisc because awesome movie. And I don't care what people say about Laserdiscs and old technology. the fact that there's good stuff in those, really good. And to me, this is like the best version of Dracula out there so far. Along with Interview with the Vampire, that was another really good movie. Up there, but yeah, Bram Stoker's Dracula I thought was really cool just for being as dark as it is. Okay, so let's see what else is going on. And oh, did you guys see? I'm kind of segueing back into current events. People are. I'm actually thinking about going back and playing Star Wars Battlefront 2, but not the new one. I'm gonna go back and watch the first one. Tom Cruise got his gay fetish on. Yeah. Of course, wasn't there that one scene where I think it wasn't Tom Cruise, it was the other leading guy in Interview with the Vampire where he says to the little girl, he says, "You have been a very, very, very naughty little girl." Yeah. Another series / movie that I think people have overlooked for a long time is Lex. It's 4 seasons, and the first season was interesting because the first season was actually 4 movies, and then it kind of went into actual episodes after that. It's weird. It's a little in some places, but it's good all the way through the ending, and if you watch all the way through the end, the ending is so satisfying because the characters that really needed to get it ended up getting it, like in a big way. Let's see, what else should we talk about here tonight? I was going to talk about all the other current stuff that's going on this week because there's been so much stuff going on back and forth about Star Wars, and I watched some of these videos by this guy Yong Ya, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen him, but he has been really following the whole debacle with that game, and now it may end up getting pulled from Europe just because they're equating it with gambling. Like, okay, so the first stone's been cast. 10 to 15 year stretch. Oh yeah. In fact, speaking of stretches, it reminded me that at one point I was living in Denver with my wife and my kids, and we started watching Andromeda. Andromeda is a fabulous series, and now that I've got the whole series, I really need to start watching it from the beginning and watching it all the way through, because there was a segment where we moved from Colorado to Orange County, California, where we didn't have TV. We missed a lot of the series, and by the time we got back into it, we got lost because there's so much stuff that had changed in the story, and some of the characters changed. You're like, what happened? So now I gotta go back and watch all that and go all the way through to find out what the heck happened with it. Another great series that I absolutely love, Babylon 5. Babylon 5 was really good, and then starting with season 2, it just kind of took off and got even better. Because in the first season, you have Michael O'Hare playing Commander Sheridan. No, not Sheridan, but Commander Sinclair. And I liked him. He was really cool in it. But then when I saw that they changed Michael O'Hare out for Bruce Boxleitner, who I remember from Tron, of course, I wasn't sure how well it was going to handled. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he handled it really well. He really got the series and just kind of took off with it. So, yeah, it was a great series. Watch the newer Battlestar Galactica series. I'll watch that from beginning to end. And a lot of it was good. But then the ending was kind of like, what? What did you just do? What? Yeah. It has such a weird ending to it. I I can't explain, what exactly happened with Battlestar Galactica because it just ended so weird. And yes, I love. Oh, dude, yes. Space 1999. Absolutely love Space 1999. I watched it back in the day. Well, I don't know. Watch it originally. I think it was out late enough to where I actually was watching it first run when I watched it when it would come on. Of course, you not only had Space 1999, but you also had Quark. You had Project Blue Book or Project UFO. You had a bunch of other really good shows on back in the day. Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. The original movie, I saw it in the theaters. And then when I found out it was coming out as a series on TV, I was excited for this because they took what was really good about the movie. They just kind of kept it going, which was awesome. So the original movie tells a good story, but then when you get in the series, it just kind of gets better and better as it goes along. And then, well, Space 1999 was, in my opinion, because although what was funny is that in space we get to the year 1999, and of course we're not on the moon. There's no moon base. There's no explosion. So of course the moon's still there, and we're like, oh, well, that was kind of disappointing. Well, I guess it kind of shouldn't be because if the moon would have went out of orbit, then that would have been tragic. Yes, Erin Gray. Oh. What can you not say good about Erin Gray? She was really, really good in that series. And I think later on down in the series, I think they replaced the voice of Twiki too, because he didn't sound the same later on in the series, and he was like one of my favorite little sidekick characters because, yeah, but yeah, Buck Rogers was great. Another series that started off with being a movie was Logan's Run. And Logan's Run had a really interesting premise with the whole, people live until they're 30 and then they go to Carousel to be renewed. At least that's the story they were spinning to the people in the domes. But what they didn't realize is that, these people were actually getting killed. So, yeah, people found out the truth and then people started running. So, yeah. The movie was good, and then the series was not bad. I mean, it kind of kept it going. Was it as good as the movie? It's kind of a personal opinion, but maybe not. Farrah Fawcett in Logan's Run, yeah. First then again, Farrah Fawcett was pretty good in just about everything she did, especially back in the Charlie's Angels days. If you remember those days before she got kicked off and replaced with Cheryl Ladd, who wasn't quite as, but that's just a matter of personal opinion. The original Charlie's Angels was really good. The remakes, yeah, did not care for that at all. And that gets me thinking about remakes. Remakes, and more remakes. Like, seriously, why? Why are we doing this? They've remade so many things. They remade Miami Vice. It fell on its face. They redid Nancy Drew. It fell on its face. They redid 21 Jump Street. This is the one that my wife and I are in total agreement with, even though I haven't watched it near as much as she did. The original 21 Jump Street was a serious teen drama that dealt with a lot of societal issues. And it was really popular for its time. They take this show and they make it into this farce comedy. Yeah. Horrible. And I can't even believe the fact that they actually got. Now I can't even think of the guy's name. Boy, I'm terrible. Crap. What was his name? Oh, this is sucking. Okay, hang on. Okay. Now I know I'm getting old because I can't even remember freaking Johnny Depp, seriously. And I love watching Johnny Depp in his newer stuff. Um, Night Stalker. Did they even do a remake of Night Stalker? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, they just need to stop. They really need to stop. Um, and not only did they do a really piss poor job with 21 Jump Street, they actually made a sequel. Why? Why did they do this thing? And then they redid Baywatch. Like they really needed to. And people are going to argue, they're going to say, oh, but you have to remake it so that way you can make it relevant and more in times with the current trends. Why don't you just go back and watch the original? I mean, shoot, you can go back and watch the original Dragnet from 1968 to 1970, and it'll still be relevant today. In fact, speaking of Dragnet, there was this one episode early on in the series that was really prophetic, because this kid that they brought in, he says, you know what it's going to be later on when we're older and we write the laws. Things like weed is going to be legal, it's going to be taxed and sold on the streets, and it's going to be all above board, and you guys won't be able to do a thing about it. Look what's happening in several states already. 40 years later. I mean, that's not prophetic. Yeah, The Rock in Baywatch. I mean, come on. Seriously? How can you replace David Hasselhoff? And don't get me wrong. I like The Rock. I like Dwayne Johnson. He is a really good actor in what he does. I think that was the only selling point to Baywatch that got people to watch it, was the fact that he was in it. It's like, yeah, I think if it would have been anybody else besides The Rock, it would have just sucked like total rocks. And not him, I mean like big, huge honking boulders. But, yeah. Remakes on the whole, I don't get it. Well, yeah, maybe. I so wish that they would not have restricted the new Star Trek, because I would love to have given it a shot, because it would have been interesting to see what they did with it. Of course, I'm sure there's probably clips all over YouTube now that show, and it's probably reviews of the series. So I'll probably go look around and see what's been done with that. I have seen every single Star Trek series. I have seen every single Star Trek movie. In fact, I've seen every single Star Trek movie first run, starting in 1979 with the first movie, which people nowadays say, oh, the first movie was so boring, it's so long and drawn out. There's a reason why it's so long and drawn out. It's been 10 years since the series was canceled, and they want a really big screen experience. And that's what they did. That's what they did with Star Trek: The Motion Picture. They actually wanted to give the ambience of being awesome again. And I'm sorry, when I saw Star Trek in 1979, it was one of those things that just kind of made you fall in love with Star Trek all over again. Especially the scene where they're flying in the shuttlecraft and they're going out to the Enterprise and they're doing the whole big wide panoramic shots. And yeah, your heart gets a little fluttery, you get a little tear in your eye, and you're just like, it's back. It's back. Yeah. So to me, the first Star Trek movie will always hold a really special place. The second movie was awesome because, of course, Ricardo Montalban. Not only the fact that he's reprising the same role as when he did in the episode Space Seed, but the fact that the guy can freaking act. Holy cats. He was awesome in that movie. It was a great movie because it had the space battles and it had all the really action that you really expected from Star Trek. And yeah. And then they did the third one, which was kind of hit or miss. Fourth one was awesome because it was kind of like part comedy, part seriousness. Comedy was golden. Star Trek 5, okay. I am going to find a link to Ryan Johnson's MST3K version of Star Trek 5, and I'm going to link it on Twitter after we're done with the stream here. Well, actually, you know what? Maybe I'll just post it here. Give me just 1 second. Let's see. Oh, I will just post that in there. So if you go to that page, he is still selling this. Well, the only reason why there's a price tag on it at all is only to cover shipping. That is the only reason. But he did, and I saw this back in '93 when I saw the last Star Trek convention that ever hit Montana, at least ever hit Billings, Montana, which was a great convention because not only was this being shown, but this was also the convention that John Delancey was here. So yeah, I got to meet the guy who played Q, which is awesome. Got to shake his hand. The guy still seemed 50 freaking feet tall, even though I was taller than he was. The Q&A session was awesome because everybody was asking him all kinds of Star Trek questions. And then I raised my hand and I asked him, I says, so how's the new book that you're writing going along? And he actually paused for a second and had to like think about that for a moment because I think he was prepared to answer just like Star Trek questions. I don't think he was planning on anybody derailing him like that. So that was fun. It was funny. It was a blast. But then I got to see this Rian Johnson MST3K version of Star Trek 5. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I could not stop laughing. My sides hurt so much from laughing at this movie. I mean, this is the only way you can watch Star Trek 5 and actually enjoy it. So, yeah, it's well worth like the $3 or $4 that you pay for shipping because it's freaking hilarious. You'll absolutely love it. So, Star Trek 6 was great because it had the Klingons, had a great story. Of course, you had Captain Sulu. Yeah, I could just imagine, when he found out where the Klingons were. Aye, Klingons, you sir are a douchebag. Fire! Yeah. But yeah, Star Trek 6 was amazing. Star Trek 7, Generations. When it comes to Generations, it was kind of like handing your kid the keys to the car and say, here, go take it for a ride. Here you go. It was like that much of an effect of handing off the torch, in my opinion. It was like, pfft. Yeah. Ugh. Okay. Okay, we're not even going to address that question here. I have no idea who that is. All right. Onward. That was just. All right. So anyway, let's get back to what we're talking about here. Boom. Yeah, you put something like that in my chat room and you're pretty much gone. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's like when I had conversations um, on YouTube and Twitter and started getting toxic. And I'm starting to really take hold of the advice that Tech Deals gave me. It's like, you know what? If they bother you that much, just block them and move on. So there you go. So, okay. Before we're so rudely interrupted. I'm working on getting some more Tron stuff because, of course, I went back and got the Tron Laserdisc box set. So if you've seen that video on my YouTube channel, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with that. I'm having fun with the deleted scenes and stuff that are going along with that because you get the deleted scenes, you get the trailers, you get a lot of behind the scenes stuff, you get a lot of the tech demos of how things were put together back in those days. Freaking awesome! So I love that one, and I I have to admit when I first heard that Tron Legacy was coming out, I was like, please, please don't let this sequel suck. Ah, I was so relieved and overjoyed at how awesome it is. Holy cats, 28 years later, they made the sequel that just smacked it straight on. They brought Jeff Bridges back. They brought Bruce Boxleitner back. They made the world relevant in a good way, and it was amazing. They brought the graphics up to how computer graphics would be nowadays. So yeah, it wasn't the same look as the grid from '82. It was the grid as it was in 2011 when it came back out. So it made that leap, and it made it to where it actually made sense. So that's what was really, really good about it. And the fact that they were able to put in a younger looking Jeff Bridges to do the role of Clue and did the whole thing with that, that was really amazing. Hackers. Okay. Highlander, you are so going to smack me for this, but I have not seen Hackers yet. It's on the list. It's on the list of things to watch. Crash Override has told me about Hackers many times. So, okay. I think I'm going to make it my mission this weekend to go out and find the copy either on streaming or somewhere in a DVD store or whatever, even at a pawn shop. I'm going to find Hackers and I'm going to sit down and watch it. Because I need to watch it. I need to. Speaking of hacking movies, Johnny Mnemonic. People can say what they want about Johnny Mnemonic, but it was a great movie. I loved what Keanu Reeves did in that movie. What is Putlocker? You tell me about this, and I don't know what it is. What is Okay. Huh. Really? Huh. Okay. Now I know something new. Thank you. So I'll check it out on Putlocker. Movies and TV series, all series for free. Thank you. Thank you so much. That is really, really super helpful. So, super cheers to you, man. I will give you an extra dose of raspberry tea for that one. That is awesome. Oh, speaking of things for free, on your smartphone or tablet, there is an app called Go90. This one has Babylon 5 from beginning to end. So if you ever want to watch Babylon 5, that's a great way to watch it for free. And if you haven't seen Babylon 5, you really should, because it is a great series. I don't remember what all is on Go90, but at least those are the other thing that's on there. The new Transformers Titan Returns series is on there that I've been meaning to actually, yes, I do. To be honest, I have I don't know if people will wonder about this in the past, but I actually have this thing called alternating exotropia. It's kind of like cross-eyedness, only in reverse, because when I was younger, I actually did have cross-eyedness, and then when they did surgery, they kind of overcorrected. So now it's like I can look with one eye and see like over there. So I have like this really super wide field of vision, but Magic Eye 3D puzzles do absolutely nothing for me. So I can't even watch them. So when 3D TVs came out, I was like, okay, I'll never waste my money on that, because that just won't be a thing. I did go and see Tron Legacy in real 3D, even though I couldn't be immersed in the 3D, because I wanted to watch it and it was the only way it was being shown. So I still enjoyed the movie. It's a super power, you could be right. It has come in handy, to be able to see, because I can see like back behind me, like almost 270 degrees. But I can't see this. Like I can't concentrate on 3D images, so they just don't work. but that's okay. I mean, it's something you learn to live with, and yeah, you have to embrace it because it's something that's not going to change. And I've actually looked into being able to correct that, and it's not going to go anywhere. Gets I like that. Get 3 monitors to play Battlefield. You'll be able to see the whole field of view. Truth be told, right now I'm doing really good with 2 monitors because one monitor is a 46-inch 1080p TV and the other one's a 50-inch TV. So I can't see behind me, but I can. If they were coming from like either side, yeah, I'd be able to spot them pretty quickly. But I do like having nice big screen estates. So, in fact, I think what I plan on doing is that once I get to like 200 subscribers on YouTube, then maybe I'll do a proper studio tour. I'll actually like clean up all the stuff and make it look presentable. Because I'm really getting into this whole like Admiral Akbar from Star Wars. Admiral Akbar I thought was really, really cool. Of all the aliens I liked in the Star Wars trilogy, he was definitely in my top 10 for sure. It's a trap. I mean, he wasn't in a lot of the movie, but what he was in is really good. We were picking up steam and not the site. Oh, speaking of steam, Hey, Zach Spence, how you doing, sir? Doing really well. Glad you could stop in. The Steam sale came up this week, another one, and one of the games that was on my wish list ended up going for 75% off, which was Euro Truck Simulator 2, which I thought about watching or thought about playing since I saw the original Euro Truck Simulator was over on TechDeal's channel, and it looked interesting. So when I saw that there was a second one, I wanted to get it. So when it went down to $5, it's like, okay, there we go. And then a few weeks back, there was a Humble Bundle sale that had a whole bunch of simulators, and in it was 2 games that I'm probably going to be streaming here pretty soon. Train Simulator 2017, which looks like it's a lot of fun, and City Skylines, which I've seen played before. Hey, Tope Francis, welcome to the channel. Thanksgiving, oh man. Okay, let's talk about today. Today was awesome, not only for the food, but also for the activity. Because one of the things that we wanted to do today is we wanted to go out and play some Ingress. And I've talked about Ingress extensively on my channel and on my live streams. Basically, for anybody who doesn't know what Ingress is, it's an augmented reality cell phone game where you play around and you take control of locations via your smartphone. And what it is, you're fighting for one of 2 sides. The whole backstory is that the Shapers have come to Earth and have flooded the world with exotic matter, otherwise known as XM. So what they did was they created all these portals all over the world, which are gateways to control this energy. And fighting for control of this energy are 2 factions. You have the Resistance, who wants to keep the world the way it is and fight off the people who want to take control of the exotic matter. And then you have the Enlightened, who are using exotic matter to further evolve mankind into a new level of reality. So you've got these 2 factions there fighting for control over all these places. And it's made by the same people that created Pokemon Go. It was actually the game that came out before Pokemon Go. Oh no, you're missing fingers? Oh. Sorry, bro. Well, hey, we got a new follower. Bleeker is now following along. Welcome to the follow crew. Thank you so much. I appreciate that greatly. I think eventually, if I ever get to affiliate or partner status, then yeah, I'm gonna really enjoy the heck out of this. So, this is actually the first time I've just done a random in real live stream. Usually when I'm streaming on here, it's while playing a game of some type. In fact, if you go over my past broadcasts, lately I've been playing Infamous on the PS3, which is a heck of a lot of fun. And I started playing that. That's where I should not have. Yeah. Ouch. Ouch. How many? I don't know how many. Let me take a look. I can tell you. So let's see here. Overview. It says, I thought there was something on here. Becoming a Twitch affiliate and partner guide. Take a look at this here. Okay, so to become an affiliate, it says you have to have at least 500 total minutes broadcast in the last 30 days, at least 7 unique broadcasts. So, like, you know, that might be a little bit harder for me because of the fact that I only really have 3 days off a week to where I can actually do stuff because I work a regular job where I'm working 40 hours a week. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll figure out a way of shoehorning it in somehow. Then you have to average of 3 concurrent viewers or more over the last 30 days and at least 50 followers. So then, in order to, and then you have to do more stuff in order to get to partner status. But I think even Tech Deals is only an affiliate right now. To friends, unfortunately, I really don't talk about what I do in my day job. At least I don't talk about where I work. I have pretty much worked a lot of customer service in my adult life, in various capacities, and I could tell you many stories about things that have happened. In fact, one of the things I talked about in one of my previous streams was at one point I used to work for the Big Blue Box Store in the returns desk. And the returns desk is definitely one of the most interesting places that you'll ever work. In fact, if you have a really weird sense of humor, it's probably the best place to apply for. Where's my neck? Right here. I have a neck. It's just my camera is like up above because my TVs are literally like up to here, so my camera sits really high. Yeah, I do plan on keeping on streaming. Oh, it's all right. Ukulele. Now I have to ask, did you play the game ukulele? I know it also refers to a musical instrument because I remember, like, well, two of the main things I remember about ukuleles was Quick Draw McGraw, because when he did his El Kabong thing, and of course Tiny Tim. What was that ukulele? I don't remember. Okay, I digress. But when it comes to working in any kind of service industry, it's one of those things to where you really have to have a titanium brain mouth filter. You really do, because there's so many things that you want to say that you really can't. Which makes me remember why this movie is so awesome, because it's like he says the one thing that you really wish you could say, but you really can't. So I remember, some of the examples of, people who brought in returns to the returns desk. You saw that I remember this one gal who brought in a big old 25-inch TV box, and it looked kind of beat up, which kind of looked suspicious to me at first. But then I look inside and it only has a 19-inch TV in it. It's like, yeah, that's not going to fly. But you haven't played ukulele yet. Well, if you like the old Banjo-Kazooie games back on the N64 or on the Xbox, it was the spiritual successor to that. I liked it. Not everybody did. But if you really like the old Banjo-Kazooie games, like the first couple, then I think it's well worth checking out. Wearing my sarcastic t-shirt tonight. I got a new one, which I'm going to be probably wearing in another stream. I go to Walmart and I look specifically for sarcastic t-shirts, and I found a really golden one last week. I found one that says, I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. And anybody who's ever worked customer service knows exactly what that means. I am actually going out tomorrow, Highlander, to go do some pricing. Well, thank you, Hawks. I appreciate that. That's very nice. Thank you. I just washed my hair today, so not always does it look this good. Sometimes if I just get up in the morning after sleeping at night, it looks really awful because just like Barnacles over on his channel, I have to sleep with a sleep machine. So so it kind of makes your hair look really raggedy in the morning. So there you go. But I'll tell you what, and I tell this to anybody. If you think you have any kind of problems sleeping, like if you snore, it's definitely well worth getting a sleep study done. Just check. Anyway. Oh, you have a CPAP too. See, we're a growing community, all of sleep machine users, because it's our best buddy in the entire world. And I truly say that. I truly believe it. Because now that I have a sleep machine, it is so much better sleeping in. Hey, Photo Ray, good to see you, man. You had to do it 3 times? So did you have to go in each time? Because I was watching Barnacles on his Twitter feed, and it looks like they sent him a kit to do his, and he didn't actually go in. Because when I did mine, I actually had to go book an appointment with the hospital to go in and actually spend the night there. It makes me think I really need a new mattress because I love their mattress so much better than my own. But my sleep stay only lasted like 6 hours because by the time I even got through with that, they're like, okay, we have enough information. You definitely have like, they said you have what's called obstructive sleep apnea. So it's like really acute. And they says you need a sleep machine. Do and study 2 at home monitoring. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of testing. So I'm guessing for you guys that you got a really good sleep machine out of that. So I'll bet you guys' sleep has been so much better since then. Because I'll tell you what, it has made a world of difference. I can actually dream again, which is awesome. Because when you snore and wake up and your sleep's just really interrupted, you just can't get into it. Yes, Dan, wearing yours. How long have you been using it? The only thing I'm thinking is that if you can't get used to it, what I would probably do is get a hold of your doctor and say, let me try a different kind. Because maybe a different kind might help. I've heard that the nasal pillows work really good. I've tried, well, the kind I have now basically just goes over your nose and it's like that. And I thought about getting one that goes like that, covering the nose and mouth, trying that out and see if that works. But some people choose that, some people choose this, some people just choose the little nasal pillows. A dental dam, okay. I have heard that it's probably like those kind that you see on the commercials that just fits in your mouth and it kind of keeps your airway open. I'm thinking, I could be wrong. But I really hope you find something that works well for you because I'll tell you what, once you find that magic solution, so much better, so much better. But okay, going back to Thanksgiving, today was really cool because we got our turkey in the oven. We got one of those nice big 24-pound turkeys, and we thought, it's going to take like 6 hours for this thing to cook. So what are we going to do? We're going to go out and play Ingress. So what's going on this week, actually since last week, is they're doing their 5-year celebration right now. So if you know anything about the way the game mechanics work in Ingress, is when you get to higher levels, there's different things that you put on portals that you have fewer and fewer that you can do. Well, during this 2 weeks, it's like you get double experience points, and you could put on double the amount of certain things onto portals. So what we did was we went to one of the colleges in town that had like a whole bunch of them, And since everybody in my family, there's me and my wife and my kids, we're all now level 8 or higher, so we have max level on everything. So what we did was we went around to each one of these locations, and when you put your stuff on these portals, since you can do 2 of the max level, you can max out. You just instantly max out the level on these things and get really, really good gear. So we were like, we made them all maxed out, which is like 35 of them. So then we came back and the turkey was done. So we got the turkey out of the oven, got it all carved up, got the potatoes, got the yams, got the dressing, tons of dressing. Holy cats, we made got 4 of the twin packs of the dressing. I guarantee you, with our kids, it will not last. It just won't. It'll just shoo, out the door it goes. But it's a nice time because A, I get an extra day off from work, and B, lots of good food. And we get turkey and stuffing sandwiches for days afterwards, which is awesome. So I've been connecting with some of my friends, and my friends have been sending me happy Thanksgiving stuff, and I get that not everybody around the world celebrates Thanksgiving, but as long as you can spend some time with people and have a good time, have some good food, have some laughs, then it's all good. Okay, so what else can... But yeah, love my sleep machine. It is so awesome. Oh, speaking of sleep machines, one thing I did pick up this year for people who already have a sleep machine is there's a cleaning solution that you can get for these machines. It's a little machine called the So Clean, and if you look down in through my video list, I actually did a video about the So Clean machine, and I bought it. And granted, the initial investment was a little high, but the fact that it keeps all your equipment clean with very little effort, such a time saver. I can't say enough good things about it. I was kind of skeptical at first, and it's like, wow, why didn't I do this before? I couldn't believe I didn't do it before. So yeah. So some people I want to point out that I've been following on Twitter lately. I don't know if anybody's heard of these channels or any of these people. Brian over at BPS Customs is a channel that I recently started getting into watching. He's a little bit smaller of a channel. Well, all these people have more subscribers than I do. But BPS Customs has a really good YouTube channel, so I really like watching his stuff. Young Ya is another good... He does a lot of good gaming stories, and a lot of other... Lately, he's been concentrating a lot on Star Wars Battlefront 2, but have I not? I thought I followed you. Let me check. I am sorry, my bad. Let's rectify that. Click, done. There we go. Problem solved. Let's see here. Who else? Oh, I started watching more of Tech Yes City. Brian over there from Australia, he does some really cool stuff. He does a lot of budget stuff. In fact, when it comes to budget stuff, there's something that I'm going to be doing here tomorrow. Crash Override and I are going to be going to Replay Electronics here in town. It's a place that sells a lot of the older hardware, and you can get some really good deals on some pre-builts as well as some other pieces. In fact, they have a lot of 3770 machines. They had like a 4560 machine for like $150. I'm sitting there thinking, why am I even bothering looking on eBay when I can just go to these guys and pick up a pre-built and go to town on it? I can use that as my sleeper streamer rig, which would be awesome. In fact, in one of my systems down here on the floor, I've got an older processor. I've got an i3-2130, which is really not adequate, in my opinion, as far as what I need it for. But here's the thing. I got the whole system for like $20. So I'm really not going to complain about it. So it's got like the i3-2130. It's got 8 gigs of RAM. It's got a very small SSD in it, but it's got a GTX 750 Ti in it. And I don't know why, but he decided to replace the power supply with a Corsair 750 watt power supply. So I'm going to cannibalize the system. I'm going to take the 750 Ti out on it. I'm going to take the power supply out. Probably see how big the hard drive is in it, and you probably use that as another storage device in my main rig, and that way I have more space for like my video files. Because and it's true, anybody that you watch on YouTube, it's absolutely true that the more you make videos, the more you save your content, the faster your hard drive is going to really fill up fast. Who else is I started watching more of Dreamcast Guy, because I used to well, actually I still own a Sega Dreamcast. In fact, a couple 3 weeks ago, Crash Override and I did a live stream where he played Resident Evil 2 from beginning to end. EVGAs are cheap. Yes, they are. They are getting really cheap. And what I really love about EVGA is that their customer service is amazing. Same thing with Cooler Master. Cooler Master has really good customer service because when I had my original water cooler back on my A10-6800, I know, why do I have a water cooler on an A10-6800? Seriously, but I had to replace it because the stock cooler that it came with, the little thermal pad, eventually deteriorated and started thermal shutdowning. So I decided I was going to get a water cooler, and I got the Cooler Master Side-On 120, and that lasted about 6 months, and then the pump started making noises. So I contacted Cooler Master, and I says, what can I do about this? Well, he says, well, we don't sell that AIO in the US anymore, but how about we send you this? So they offered to send me the V8 GTS air cooler, which is a really good cooler. But I have nothing but good things to say about it. It looks amazing. I never used it for only one reason. The only LEDs in it were red, and I have said this on Twitter. I've said this many places. Oh my goodness, can you guys stop with the red, please? Give us choices. So when I did my build, I did my very best to stay away from red, because I don't know, to me red just is not an appealing color to me. Just in my opinion. So I went with black and white, and I decided to go with RGB. Now their new MA610P, the new air cooler the Cooler Master just came out with, that one looks like it could be really good, because not only is it a really good size air cooler, but it's also got RGB on it. So you're not stuck with red, you can choose whatever color. MSI was good to you also. Good. It's good to hear. I've heard good things about MSI. I've heard good things about, like I said, EVGA and Cooler Master. Those are all really good companies. I have not had to contact ASRock for anything, but their motherboard works really well. I've got the Z270 Tai Chi, so I can honestly say I love Tai Chi motherboards just because they're easy to work with, they're easy to set up. But so yeah, this is the first build I've actually done that had a Crucial hard drive in it. I bought that based on a recommendation by watching TechDeal's $1,500 build. So that I'm really happy with. I think the only thing I'm going to do left with this system is probably add more storage and more RAM, and that's probably about it, unless the prices on the higher end graphics cards above a 1070 come down. But 1070 works really good for what I want it for. And now that I know about GPU encoding and all the other kind of stuff, it really helps. Who else have we been following lately? Not a whole lot of stuff going on Twitter these days. Jay's 2 cents is going back to being his salty self, which is awesome. Oh yeah, on Humble Bundle right now, Sanctum 2 is available for a limited time for free. I got Brutal Legend the other day for free from them, which was really awesome, because I thought about playing it before, but I never got around to it. But I do remember that Jack Black was in it. So when it came up for free, I thought, I might as well give this one a shot, because when a game's for free, then yeah. Ooh, fries. Dude, photo. I remember fries. When I lived in Orange County, California, they had Fries Electronics. I had my first experience with those guys, and they were pretty awesome. So yeah, I liked fries. Okay, just checking my notifications because it keeps popping up here. Um, oh yeah. So now Highlander, you know about the rest of my horror collection. Well, at least a good portion of it. Anything that I haven't covered on my horror collection? Cover the main ones. What other horror movies did I see back in the day? I saw this really creepy movie back in the 80s called The Children, which was like super creepy because it was about possessed kids that went around and they were killing people, and you could tell they were possessed because their fingernails went black. Okay, a fashion statement means they're a murderer, so yeah. I remember what? Oh, another movie from back in the 80s was called The Gate. And that one had some interesting special effects in it. The one I remember the most was I remember they were trying to keep somebody out from this door, and they slammed the door on this guy's hand, and you saw that hand like fall down to the ground and became little tadpoles and slid underneath the door. It's like, okay. So if you look at it back now, you look back on it, and it's really cheesy effects, but back in the day, it was kind of creepy. People talk about Tremors, about being a good horror movie. I never actually went back and saw those yet. But I've heard those are good. Um, The Wraith was another good movie. I think that one had Charlie Sheen in it back in the 80s. And what that one was is that was about this guy who got killed who owned a supercar, and these people stole parts off of that car after the accident. And so what happened is that he came back as a specter, and he would go after all the people who had wronged him. And after each one of these people that had wronged him got killed, you saw the wrecks in their cars, and you see the piece that they stole from his car vanish. Warlock was a pretty decent movie. I only saw the first movie of that, but that wasn't a bad movie. All in all, I mean, it was nowadays. These days it looks a little cheesier than it used to, but yeah, Warlock was a pretty darn good movie. Um, what else do we have? Trying to think of other horror movies that I've watched. Um, there was another one called Prophecy, 1979. Not to be confused with The Prophecy with Christopher Walken. No, this was just called Prophecy. And what this was is this is a story about mutated animals around this wooded area. And the reason why they mutated is because there was a chemical plant that was putting pollutants into the water, so it caused these creatures to mutate, of course. And to me, it was I remember this movie because there was a jump scare right at the end of the movie that made everybody in the theater just jump out of their seats. Beyond the Door, I have not seen yet, but now, when you say Prophecy, do you mean the movies from 1979, or are you talking about The Prophecy? Because they're two totally different movies. Now, I've not seen any of The Prophecy yet, but I have seen Prophecy. Another movie I need to go back and watch, speaking of iconic horror movies, is the original Carrie with Sissy Spacek. I know they did. Okay, thank you. I was wondering which one it was. But I haven't seen the original Carrie or the Rage Carrie 2 yet. I know they did a remake of that, so I might watch that after I see the original. I'm really glad that I watched the original It before I saw the new one, because I liked the original one with Tim Curry. Aren't you gonna come and say hello? And then when I watched the new one, the new one took everything that was really cool about the first one, and they just kind of redid the character and just really ramped up the creepiness. So, and I was really hoping that this was going to be a really scary movie, one that made me jump out of my seat, because there's so many horror movies that you're just like, okay, well, that was kind of cool. Yeah, hella grossness, but you never really get a chance to see movies that actually make you jump anymore. This one did. That's another movie I need to go back and watch, Jeepers Creepers, because I've heard that movie makes people jump. So I know there's like 2 or 3 movies of Jeepers Creepers. I think that was the one about the Scarecrow, if I'm thinking about the right movie. But I've heard that one's a good horror movie. There was the other ones. Yeah, I'm starting to draw a blank here. I've gone through all the ones I really remember watching. But yeah, Jeepers Creepers was good. And then, of course, I'm going to go back and start watching all the Phantasms. I'm going to start from the beginning, from the first Phantasm, and go forward from there. And then go back and watch all the original Halloweens, all the original Friday the 13th, just kind of start from ground zero. You go back and watch the original Nightmare on Elm Street nowadays, and you almost want to laugh at it because it's like, okay, this is kind of goofy. Like, yeah, you see Freddy with the really long arms, and you're like, okay, yeah, we can run away from that. The ambience from Phantasm was really scary because at the end of the first 2 movies, I don't know if this carried into 3, 4, and 5, but I remember the 2 main characters would always say, "Okay, we're okay. It's all right. It's just a dream. It's not real. It's just a dream." And the tall man appears from nowhere and just goes, "No, it's not," and then takes someone away, and then that's it. I mean, that was the part of the real fun of Phantasm. It was a great movie. So I need to go back and watch those again. Let's keep this going here. Let's look over here. Gonna jump back into anime again because went from black and white. Yes, it did. Photo, yes, I do actually. I do Netflix, I do Hulu, I do Amazon, I do Go90. Now told about that one. I was told about Putlocker. So I'm going to check out Putlocker. I need to bookmark that. Now that's Putlockers.movie, right? I think that's the right one because that's the first one that came up. So if that's the right one, then that is the one that I will save. I'll just put that over here. There we go. All right. That. Okay. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that. Is the whole net neutrality thing going to really affect the services like he predicted? That I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't even have a magic 8 ball to consult regarding that one. I wish I knew how that was going to turn out. It's probably going to end up being a thing just because it's got so big of a push behind it now, but I'm really worried about how that's going to end up. So, yeah, it's probably going to be a poop storm. It's probably going to really explode in their faces. And, yeah, I just don't know what's going to happen with that one. I mean, I'm kind of hoping that the whole momentum on that just kind of dies. Use Opera has a VPN. I might do that. I remember using Opera back in the day. I haven't used it in like a really long time, so maybe I might give it another shot again. I might. One movie that I need to sit down and watch because I got this like years and years ago from a friend of mine in Denver is a movie called Night Watch. It's a horror movie that was subtitled in well, it was spoken in Russian with subtitles. And the reason that I was told to watch it is because they do something interesting with the subtitles. It's not just words that appear up on the screen and then disappear. They do other things with the subtitles. In fact, some more recent movies are starting to do more stuff with subtitles. In fact, I think John Wick did something like that, and CSI Miami had some episodes where they were doing other things with subtitles. So I'm gonna watch Night Watch. I'm gonna watch it subtitled just to see what it does, because I think there's Night Watch and there's Day Watch, and I think there's like a third movie in that series. So I'm gonna watch those and see how good those are. Pan's Labyrinth. I listen. It's funny because this is a movie I have. I have a copy of it. Have I actually sat down and watched it? Not yet, but maybe I'll just sit down this weekend and watch all these DVDs because I I know it's only subtitled. It's not like dubbed in English. So and I'm fine with watching subtitled movies because I watch a lot of foreign flicks because one of the best movies I've ever seen came out of China. And it's a movie called Farewell My Concubine. And of course now I need to get on DVD because the DVD version actually has a few minutes more footage than the Laserdisc does. But it's a great movie because it tells a really good story. And the reason why I got into watching Chinese flicks is because of another movie called The Story of Q-Ju, which is Kiuju. What that is, it's a story of a wife whose husband was wronged by the authorities, and she tries to make him do right, and she ends up having to keep going further and further up the chain of command in order to get an apology from the government. So it's kind of like that whole journey. That one was a really good movie because Gong Li was in that movie as well as Farewell My Concubine, so she did really well in both those movies. The Stephen Chow movies are really good. Shaolin Soccer is freaking amazing, as well as Kung Fu Hustle. But Shaolin Soccer, I think, was better just because of comedy aspect of it. That one was a great movie, and that one, if you got on DVD, you can watch either dubbed or subtitled. French movies are awesome. There's a couple of French movies that I did watch. Amelie, which was really popular a number of years ago. If you haven't seen that one, it's a really good movie. Tells a really good story, as well as Short Order. And Short Order is an interesting movie to me because back in the 80s, one of my favorite musical influences was a gal by the name of Nina Hagen. I started listening to her back in the 80s. In fact, I finally met the gal back in 2003. Met her at a concert after a concert in Santa Ana, California. That was a really interesting experience, let me tell you what. Because I went and saw the concert because she was like at the end of like a whole list of acts, because they had, I think when I finally went to the theater to watch what was going on, they had a group called the Von Steins. Aw, you guys are nice. Thank you. But they had the Von Steins, and then they had Texas Terry. Texas Terry was an interesting gal, I'll tell you what. I mean, it was a rather unique experience that in meeting her, in a good way. In a good way. She was a really nice lady, and she sang really, really well. And then when I got to see Nina Hagen, I actually was able to get right up close to the stage. Of course, this is a really small theater. There wasn't a whole lot of people there, so I got a chance to get right up there and got to enjoy watching her after like all these years. And then I got to meet her after the show and actually got her to, in fact, I think, let's see. Let's see if I got this here. Hang on a second. Let's see. A little show and tell here. Oh, where is it? Oh, here we go. It's right in front. This is Nina Hagen's single Universal Radio from back in '85. And I'll bring this up a little closer. She actually signed it for me. We met behind the theater in the rain in the evening. And it was funny because she's like, oh, I get to sit out here and enjoy time with my friends. And she gave me a big hug, and then she got in her car, and that was pretty much the end of it. So it was great. The Perfect Stranger, Spanish with, ooh, Call Meany. Ooh, I like Call Meany. Of course, I liked him in Star Trek, too. He was also in a movie called The Snapper that I started watching, and I need to really finish watching that. The Perfect Stranger. I will put that on my list. Thank you. I will definitely check out for that. Um, so anyway, so going back to Nina Hagen, the reason why Short Order was a really interesting movie was because her daughter, Cosma Shiva Hagen, was starring in that movie. And she is definitely easy on the eyes. If you ever see her, she's a pretty nice guy. I mean, she's definitely her mother's daughter for sure. I mean, she is awesome. So I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I like watching Short Order, if for nothing else. I mean, there's a lot of sarcasm that goes on in that movie that's absolutely hilarious. So if you have a little time and you can find it easily enough, definitely watch Short Order. It's well worth your time. Another movie that's really well worth your time is Tampopo. It's a Japanese flick, and it all centers around ramen and all the adventures that go on in making the perfect bowl of ramen. And it just drew me in, and I really loved watching it. So I'm gonna watch it again because it's goofy, it's great, it's awesome. So yeah. And if you like that movie, then you have to watch The Ramen Girl, which is another cool movie because that one I like because the gal ends up in Japan. She went there on a trip, got left by her boyfriend, so she's stuck in Japan with no knowledge of Japanese, trying to figure out how to make it work, and ends up, okay, well, we'll see you when you get back, Highlander. We'll still be here. So she ends up going to this ramen shop and wants to learn how to make ramen, wants to learn from an actual person. Excuse me, I got itch on my nose. So she wants to learn how to make ramen. And the person, and of course, they have no way of really communicating with each other because they don't know English. She doesn't know Japanese. So it's like, it's kind of like this whole learning curve on both sides. So that's what makes it hysterical. And in the end, it turns out really awesome in the end. So it's well worth watching. I do love Japanese cartoons and shows. And then when I was in college, one of my friends had this 12-episode drama that was on back in the day, and it was called this one was called Tokyo Love Story. And I know what you're thinking. Why would you watch a soap opera, dude? I mean, seriously, why would you? It's really good. That's why. And I love what they did with the packaging on this because it's whoa. I love what they did with it, except one falls out. Okay. Couldn't have fallen out like that. Anyway, the packaging is really cool because it comes in 3 DVDs like that. Awesome. But it tells the story of two school friends who grew up apart and end up being together in Tokyo, and their friends and the whole adventures that they go through. And it's, like I said, it's only 12 episodes, but it is subtitled. So if you want something a little kitsch, a little nuanced, I like it. You might, I don't know. It's one of those things that you might like and you might not. I was digging through my stuff a couple weeks ago, and I